Hey guys, well today I thought we'd do something a little bit different and venture outside. So today we're going to go to the Illawarra Brick Show for 2022. But first, I just got to change my shirt. Ah, perfect. Let's go do this. Well, this was an exceptional layout. I really loved it for multiple reasons. I loved the theming of it. The way that the ground was sculpted, the water coming up to the beach and the rock work, I thought it was exceptional. All the little buildings, they were sparse and they were detailed, and I think it just looked amazing, really, really good up close as well as far away. The rock work and the fortress are just exceptional, really exceptional. I really loved the roofs and the way that they did those, as well as just all the little details on the walls and phenomenal detail, phenomenal theming. Big fan of this one. Hopefully I can learn a bit from it. Even all the foliage and the trees, it just looked beautiful, and you can see it there from further back. All the tiny details on the water's edge and all the little markets and areas leading up to the fort, exceptional. Really, really well done. This might have been one of my favourites in the whole convention. Not to mention the ships. The ships obviously looked amazing, but I think overall for me, the whole theming, the landscaping, the whole set was really what pulled it together for me. So this is Minas Tirith, obviously from Lord of the Rings. The use of white, wow, a lot of white, really, really well done. The detail in each level, exceptional, especially down ground level. That's kind of where I liked it the most. Now this was a Lego castle made out of big blocks, but made out of small blocks, if that makes sense. Lots of little blocks to make it look like they were made out of big Lego blocks. I thought it was a really cool idea. Now this was a really cool spaceship. I was talking to the guy who built this, and the wheel does spin, but it wasn't working at the moment. It obviously had some teething issues, but the use of motion in the side there and all the crazy shapes, this was really well done and definitely one of my favorites. So the great ball contraption, like great Lego ball contraption, this was the first time I'd seen one in the flesh, and it was really eye-catching to watch and really interesting to see the balls go round. Not something that I'd be interested in building, but at the same time I can appreciate the skill that goes into all of those different mechanisms to get the small balls to move around the course. Now here is a Hogwarts castle from Harry Potter. It was a bit different from the other Hogwarts castles that I'd seen, but I once again really liked the landscaping, especially at the back here with Hagrid's hut. So here's a bit of a Formula One racing pit stop area. Found it pretty interesting. Some Star Wars Hoth here set up with two of the big walkers and the train running around to motorize the the snow speeder, which is pretty cool. Now here's a large Titanic, not the official Titanic, but a large Titanic. Very interesting to see how they did it. Now this was probably my favorite display piece. There wasn't too much going on, and I think that's what I liked about it. It reminded me of some Southeast Asian country, just chilling by the water. I mean, beautiful sand, just a few minifigs hanging out, one tuk-tuk on the road, and a beautiful garden behind with a bridge. I just think this was exceptional, the way that it was all laid out. You can see here from behind that bridge and all the foliage. I just think it was beautiful. It was understated, it was classy, there wasn't too much going on, but there was a lot of detail. And the water and the beach was just so beautiful to look at. I really enjoyed this one. Here's some micro scale builds, which I hadn't really thought too much about from previously, but I quite liked them. Now here's some bin chickens. Anyone from Australia will recognise these bad boys. And I think this diorama was great. A lot of fun, very relatable. Everyone loved looking at this at the exhibition. Now here's a farm, which I don't spend too much time thinking about really, because it takes up way too much room, Lego-wise. But I think whoever put this together did an exceptional job. Really looks great. I have no idea what this is. I really like it. I think it looks great. I think it's some kind of a bridge. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I like it. Someone's put a lot of work into it, and architecturally it looks great. Now this is just a small building, but I quite liked it. it gave me a bit of a European vibe, maybe a Bavarian feel. The character's a bit much for me, but I really like the way it was put together. A lot of browns, dark reds. I just liked the way it looked. Now these were little coffee shops, little cafes, little eateries, and I thought they were quite fun. I really like this. A good way to showcase a lot of minifigs in this little eatery, little food court area. I thought it was, yeah, really fun. Hopefully some good inspiration from a few of these shops. Now this layout was great. I got talking with a guy who built this, and his eye for detail and planning and his love for the Lego, for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just phenomenal. He built so much into this, and you could see how much pride there was on his face talking about it with people and explaining elements. So much detail, so many fun elements. I think it looks great. Here's some Indiana Jones little vignettes, which I found quite fun. Nothing too crazy going on, but just really fun to see them all laid out like this. This was a cool building, kind of similar to the Arc de Triomphe in style, or a Victory Arch in any city really. And this was some kind of, I'm assuming, Nordic Viking hall. I don't know specifically, but I really love the architecture and the detail that went into this style. It's really distinct. I love the colors. I love everything about it. Now here's the Main Street station at Disneyland. I really liked how they've obviously taken the set and extended it out. Those low bridges and the wide kind of paths, very Disney, and yeah, exceptional. Here's a castle built on some water, and look, I really like this as well. Interesting style there for the roof. It's good to learn about. Here's some spaceships. I do love my space, and a very interesting design for these winged pieces, these curved pieces. A lot of skill has been used there. Now here was a layout of military vehicles, all helicopters, well, mostly helicopters and some support vehicles and different armoured vehicles of different types. Yeah, look, really cool. Someone's obviously put a hell of a lot of work into these, and laid out together they all look great. I was definitely interested in some of the tankers and some of the smaller vehicles. Now here is a theatre of some type. I'm not sure if it's based off an actual theatre somewhere in Australia, but once again I just love the details of the facade. Now here is a big castle. This was one of the star attractions. There were so many people looking at this, and for good reason. I mean, all the detail, all the building techniques that we can learn from this. Yeah, just exceptional. Once again, I'm just kind of looking at the detail of the outside of the buildings, the architecture, the colours, and the groundwork and the landscaping and how they put all that together. This was a huge build, and it was absolutely beautiful, and it's really interesting how they made those walls. I don't know if they followed a specific pattern or just did it random, but it does look really great. And a good way of diversifying the colour. This was a huge build. So many minifigures, so many towers, so many buildings. It must have taken them forever. And even for its size, there was so much detail. Every corner there was a little story going on or a little vignette. It was beautiful. This whole castle mock setup was just phenomenal. The way the earth and the ground, the landscaping was blended into the buildings, and the buildings all had these little stories and little moments happening in every angle that you looked at it. It was exceptional. I also loved really looking at the roofs and how they came together. Hopefully I can get some inspiration from this build. I mean, the detailing is just phenomenal, and I think the colour usage and the part usage, really, really well done. It was a huge build. This alien landscape was really interesting to me as well. They blended so many different themes and different mocks together to create this setting. I was a bit confused at the colour, exactly what it was. Is it like a dark nougat or is it like an orange? What is that colour that makes up the kind of base? I do like it. It's very Mars. And there was just, yeah, so many cool little scenes happening on this mock. I really liked how they used the new base plates to create landing pads and runways, as well as little modular buildings. I thought that was really clever part usage. But once again, so many cool scenes going on and so much to look at. I really liked over here, they kind of used I want to call them big figs from Galador. I think that's what they are, but I'm not 100% sure. They kind of looked like aliens that had landed and come to visit, or maybe they were kind of big mechs or robots of some sort, but them standing there on the runway kind of looked great, to be honest, as well as all the classic space stuff that they had lying around. This alien landscape was just so much fun to look at, and oh, hey look, he's wearing the same shirt as me. Now, if you know me, I love my train setups, and this one was exceptional. They managed to get multi-layered train running, and you spiraled up on one side, crossed a bridge, and spiraled down on the other side, with a waterfall in the middle. I mean, absolutely beautiful. And I feel that this is only something you could do with 9-volt, because I found it very hard, even small elevations, to get trains going up or down. So I was enamored at how well they had created this setup. I mean, it looked beautiful. Once again, the mountains, the buildings. Yeah, this setup was obviously by someone who's very passionate about their foliage and their plant life. I mean, have a look at these crazy gardens. It just looks exceptional. There was not a base plate or, you know, an area of studs free from plant life and activity. And the detail was stunning here. So many minifigs, so many little stories, such detail into the colors. There was a lot going on, but it was beautiful, and it really held its own aesthetics, its own style. And of course I love the train running around the outside. This was one of the bigger setups, and it was, I forget which lug it was from, but maybe Canberra, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. But they had all these modulars set up, and they had a double track train running around the outside. And I could have stayed here for ages watching this setup, and you know, I'm obviously looking at all the modulars here, some mocks and some sets, just to get ideas and see how they've done things. But my key here was really watching the trains. I mean, it would be a dream of mine to have one of my trains running around a larger set, or if I could somehow contribute to a larger layout like these guys have done. But just beautiful watching. I mean, I love this mock train, and I love all the carriages they made and all the rolling stock. I think it was exceptional, and I would love to see more. Now, this was a really cool mock. This was of the Dam Busters, which is a great story from the Second World War, and I would highly recommend. There's some great videos on YouTube and documentaries if anyone wants to research that. And this was obviously the pivotal moment when they're busting the dam, and I thought it was really cool. Now, there were lots of shops and vendors at the exhibition, but this one was the only one that really caught my eye. It was lighting. Now, lighting is something that I've always thought about doing and putting into my city, but I've always found it a bit too expensive. So I did purchase just a little lighting kit that just had a street lamp and I think 2 or 3 individual lights to go into a modular, and I put them into my corner garage, which isn't actually in my big setup, but I have it separately. And while I did it very quickly and very crudely, I think it looks really good. My biggest problem with lights are how expensive they are, and also sometimes the light is so powerful that it just washes out the photos. It just becomes way too bright and too much contrast. But here, because I only put in I think 2 or maybe 3, I felt that it didn't take up too much. It was a nicer night scene. It didn't, you know, just shoot all of this light out and absolutely wash out everything else. So we'll see where we go with this.